Hello everyone, I hope you all are well. Today we will be studying about Saudi Arabia, the sixth chapter of your SST. So, like you might be wondering where Saudi Arabia lies in the world. So, as you can see the map of Asia in front of you, and you can see Saudi Arabia, which is in the continent of Asia. So, Saudi Arabia lies in the continent of Asia. Okay, let's jump into the chapter. Desert can be defined as an area where there is scanty rainfall and sandy land. The general climate is hot and dry almost throughout the year. Some of the important deserts in the world are they're given. Okay, so what is a desert? Basically, desert is a place which is having scanty rain and sandy land. Sandy land means the land is full of sand, and scanty means very little. Scanty means very little. So very little rainfall. It rains very little. And generally the desert is hot and dry. Some of the famous desert names are given here, like Colorado Desert of North America, the Arabian Desert and the Thar Desert in Asia, the Sahara Desert of North Africa, the Atacama Desert in South America, the Kalahari Desert in Africa, and the Southwest Australian Desert. In this chapter, we shall study the life of people living in hot desert of Saudi Arabia. So in this chapter, we will be studying about Saudi Arabia. Okay, let's look at the location of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is located in the Arabian Desert. It lies between the Red Sea and in the west and the Persian Gulf on the east. As you can see, the Arabian Desert, which is marked in this map, and you can see Saudi Arabia. Okay, and it lies in the peninsula, in the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, and if you look carefully to the left of Saudi Arabia, to the west, as you can see in the mark, is marked east, west, north, south here. As you can see, to the left of Saudi Arabia, there is Red Sea, and to the right of Saudi Arabia, there is a Persian Gulf. So basically, on the west there is a Red Sea, and on the east there is Persian Gulf. Saudi Arabia occupies about 3/4 of the Arabian Peninsula. So Saudi Arabia is occupying almost 3/4. It's so big that this is the whole Arabian Peninsula, and Saudi Arabia is taking almost 3/4 of it. Arabian Peninsula is the world's largest peninsula. Arabian Peninsula is the world's largest peninsula. As you can see in this map, this is the Arabian Desert. Saudi Arabia lies to the west of India. It is surrounded by Iraq, Israel, Jordan and Kuwait in the north, Yemen in the south, Qatar, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates and Oman in the east, and the Red Sea in the west. As you can see, Saudi Arabia is here, and this is the north, this is the south. So on the north you can see Jordan, Iraq, Kuwait, and on the south you can see Yemen and Oman and United Arab Emirates, and on the west you can see Red Sea, and on the east you can see the Peninsular Gulf and Qatar. Physical features. Most of Saudi Arabia is rocky plateau covered by a vast desert. Desert have a sandy hill called sand dunes. The world's largest and continuous stretch of land and sandy desert called Rab al Khalil is located in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so most of Saudi Arabia is covered with sand. Okay, and sand deserts have sand hills which are called sand dunes. The world's largest continuous stretch of dry and sandy desert. So world's largest stretch, that is the is the Rab al Khalil desert. Okay, it's a very long continuous desert. There is shortage of water due to absence of permanent river or lakes. However, some parts have underground water which comes close to surface and form pools of water called oases. So since desert is very dry, but some part of the desert has the water level is quite high. So because of that, this water comes out to the land surface and they form water pools called oases. As you can see in the picture, that's an oasis in the desert. Tall date palm and other thorny plants grow near an oasis. During occasional heavy rains, dry valleys called wadis temporarily fill water. But due to extreme heat, the water evaporates quickly or soaks into the ground. As you can see, around this oasis, you can see a lot of palm trees and many other thorny plants and many other plants growing around oasis. So during this rainfalls, when it rains, this water gets collected sometimes in this place called wadis, and but because of the heat, it evaporates. So basically, oases are the main water source for the people of Arabia. Desert have sand hills called sand dunes. As you can see, the sand hills in the desert. As you can see, many sand hills. These sand hills are called sand dunes. Climate. The Tropic of Cancer passes through the center of Saudi Arabia. Therefore, most part of Saudi Arabia experiences extreme hot and dry climate throughout the year. In summer, the temperature rises above 50 degrees Celsius. As you can see the earth, the map of the earth, you can see the Tropic of Cancer passes here, the equator is here, and Tropic of Capricorn. So what we have learned in the previous chapters is that in between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, we have the torrid zone. We have the torrid zone. Torrid zone is the zone which is very hot. So because Saudi Arabia, you can see, as you can see, Saudi Arabia here, it lies in the Tropic of Cancer, passes through Saudi Arabia, and because of this, the temperature of Saudi Arabia is too high and it's very hot over there, and it rises up to 50 degrees Celsius. Strong and dusty winds called shamal blow sometimes with great speed and shift the sand dunes from one place to another. The days are very hot. The night, however, are cool and pleasant. In winter, the days are warm, but the nights are quite cold. The coastal areas remain humid for most of the time of the year. As you can see a sandstorm in this picture, that when sandstorm, a dusty winds called shamal, they blow this sand, and because they blow the sand dunes which you can see, they shift from one place to another because the sand is moving from one place to another. And in summer it is very hot in Saudi Arabia, but during winter it is quite warm, and in the night time it's quite cold. But area near the sea, coastal area, is always humid. There are a few hill stations like Abha which are cool even in summer. Asir is the only part that receives much rainfall in Saudi Arabia. The rest of the country receives very little rain. So there are few hill stations like Abha, as you can see in the picture, and which are cool even in summer. So these places, though even though Saudi Arabia is a hot country, in these hill stations are still cool even in summer. And Asir is only part that receives much rainfall, and Asir is the part of Saudi Arabia which gets more rainfall, and the rest of the country gets very little rainfall. Plant life. High temperature and low rainfall have made this region almost barren. Only shrubs with long roots, thorny bushes, and cactus grow here. The long roots go deep into the soil to absorb water. These plants can store water in the leaves and stem, hence they are called succulent. The thorns prevent loss of water through evaporation. So, since Saudi Arabia is full of desert, or you can say in a desert, the plants which grow in desert, they cannot get water so easily. So here only you can see thorny plants, only thorny plants, and because there is no rainfall, it has made the land barren. Barren, a land which barren means which doesn't have any green plants in them. That is called a barren land. And in the desert there are only shrubs, small plants with long roots. They have a very long root because the roots go very deep into the land and absorbs water for survival. And only cactus and thorny plants grow here. And these plants, they don't have leaves, because if they have leaves they will lose the water. So those leaves are in the form of thorns. So these thorns stop the evaporation of water from the plant, and hence these plants are called succulent. The thorns prevent the loss of water from the through evaporation. There are several oases around which people have started living. The people grow food crops such as wheat, barley, cotton, millets, fruit, and vegetables. So, as you can see in this picture, there is a oasis and there are people living around the oasis, and you can see they have cultivated few crops. So around oasis where there is water, people have started to live there, and they have began to cultivate crops like wheat, barley, grains and all, and many fruits also, as you can see in the picture which is depicted there. Dates are sweet and nutritious fruits. The leaves and roots of these trees are used to make baskets and other useful articles. So you can see there's an oasis here, and there are date palm trees here, and as you can see the fruit date, how it looks, and these dates is a very nutritious fruit, and they don't waste any of these leaves or any dry leaves. What they do is they make baskets or something useful with the help of this, the with the help of the leaves of these trees and the wood. So basically they use everything that is available there. Animal life. Desert animals can live with very little water and food. To avoid the extreme temperature, many of them burrow beneath the surface or hide in the shade during the day and come out at night in search of food. The animals found here are camel, horses, goats, sheep, foxes, wolves, deer, and hyenas. So animal life in desert, since it is very hot and very less food is available there, so there are very few types of animal that live in the desert. And because it is very hot during the day, most of the animal they make hole in the sand and they hide under the sand. So that is called burrowing the sand. They burrow, but making burrow means making hole in the ground. So they burrow and hide under the ground during the daytime, or they hide under the trees near oasis, and only they come out at night to hunt, because at night it is not hot. And the few animals that found are here, some photos are there, and the normal animals is given here. They are camel, horses, goats, sheep, foxes, wolves, deer, and hyenas. Camels are the most useful animals. They have padded feet that do not sink into the sand, and so they can walk long distance in the desert. Camel can live without food and water for many days. They are the chief means of transport in the desert, therefore they are called sheep of the desert. As you can see, camel, they have padded foot. If you look closely, look at the foot here, the foot of the camel, it is padded. Padded means it is like flat. So because of this flatness, and since because it is big and flat, the legs do not go into the sand. So because of that, the camel can walk in the sand very easily, and they can walk in the desert for long distance, and they can live without food and little water for long time. And because of this, they are used as transportation in deserts, because they can survive without food and water for a long time. They can walk quickly in the desert, so they are used for transport, and that is why camels are called the ship of the desert. The ship of the desert, because they can carry anything through a desert. Life of the people. There is very tough life in a desert. Most of the people living here are farmers. Some people rear camel, horses, sheep, goat, etc. So the life of the people living in the desert is very hard for them, because it's a very hot place to live. So they cultivate crops near the oasis, and they rear animals like camel, horses, sheep, goat. Rear means keeping domestic animals, keeping and rearing them. They keep on moving from one place to another in search of pasture. The herds of camel and other animals. These people are called Bedouins or nomads. So because there is green plants near oasis, once the animal feed on the plants, it become barren. So they have to find a new place for the animals. So they keep on moving from one place to another in search of green pasture, in search of green plants, so that the animals can eat them. The Bedouins move in groups, from forming long rows of camel called caravans. So the Bedouin people, these people, when they move from one place to another, they they travel with the camel, and as you can see in the picture above, they're going together because they're going to a different place in search of food. And this way of traveling is called this way this way of traveling is called caravans. The fast deposit of petrol has changed the lifestyle of the people of Saudi Arabia. They now enjoy all modern facilities like air conditioner houses, hospital buildings, schools, parks, and transportation. There are shopping malls and supermarkets that are full of luxury goods like television, CD players, computer, automobiles, car, air conditioners, mobile phones, and radios. So Saudi Arabia is rich in petroleum. They have a lot of petroleum and underground. So because of this petroleum, they have become rich by selling the petrol, and because of this, now right now they have so many facilities. As you can see, in the city they have so many huge buildings and many shopping malls, many schools, many parks. Because of this, the country has become very rich. All the modern facilities and high standard of living have become possible because of the money earned by selling petroleum to other countries. This is why petroleum is called liquid gold. As you can see in the picture, this is a petroleum, this is an oil field, how petroleum is taken out from the soil, from underground. And since Saudi Arabia is rich in petroleum, they sell petrol, and by selling this petrol, they have earned a lot of money, and that's how the country has developed. And because of this, petroleum is called liquid gold. The men of Saudi Arabia wear a long flowing cotton robes and head covering called kutra. The women wear long robes called aba and cover their faces with a veil. So as you can see here, the men they wear long robes mean long jackets, and they cover their head with a covering. That head covering is called gutra. And women, when you can see the women, they are covering their whole body with a robe called aba, and they cover their faces with a veil. Now, even water is not rare commodity in Saudi Arabia, but water plants have been set up to purify water, seawater for agriculture and domestic purpose. Now, water is a big, because it's a desert, water is a big problem. But right now, water is also not a big problem for them, because they have made, as you can see in this picture, they have made big water plants to recycle that seawater to making it like normal water, so that they can use it for domestic purposes, like for agriculture purpose, for bathing, for other purposes also. So they have the domestic purposes and agriculture purpose. They have made many water plants, so that even right now water is not a big problem for them. Industries: petroleum refineries, petrochemical, iron and steel, fertilizers and chemicals are the main industries of Saudi Arabia. This has further made the people rich and prosperous. So the main industries in Saudi Arabia are the petroleum refineries, petrochemical, steel and iron and steel, and fertilizers and chemicals. So these four types are the main. And and because of these industries, it has made the people more rich, much more richer. Mineral resources: as you can see in the picture, this is the oil plants, petrol this is the petroleum plants. Okay, so mineral resources: Saudi Arabia has rich deposit of minerals like silver, zinc, lead, copper and iron. It has the largest petroleum deposit in the world. When petroleum is refined, it provides petrol, diesel, lubricant, kerosene, available spirits. Gahawar, Dahare, and Aqiyab are the main oil fields of Saudi Arabia. Now see, Saudi Arabia has a lot of mineral resources. They have like silver, zinc, lead, copper, and iron. But the main is the petroleum. They have the largest petroleum deposit. And once you refine this petroleum oil, you get petrol, kerosene, diesel, lubricants, and many other aviation spirits. And because of this, by selling, they have become rich. And the main oil fields are Gahawar, Dahare, and Abaquib. These are the main oil fields. And the picture you can see, this is the Gawar oil field, and this is the Dahare oil field. You can see they are so big, so much oil is refined here and transported to exported to other countries. Transportation and communication. Saudi Arabia has an excellent network of roadways, railways, and airways. Railway system operates between Riyadh and Ad-Daman, a port of Persian Gulf. So Saudi Arabia has excellent railway network also. As you can see in the picture, you can see the railway, which is very sophisticated and is very modern. So they have a great railway connection, and there is a big railway system operates between Riyadh and Al Daman airport. Al Daman. Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia, and Al Daman is a port, is a seaport, and there is a railway system between these two cities, because it's many goods are transported through sea, and which is transported by railways to the heart of the capital. And King Abdul Aziz International Airport in Jeddah is one of the largest airports in Saudi Arabia. Airways connect Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dahan with the rest of the world. Jeddah, Daman, and Yanub are the chief seaports of Saudi Arabia. So, in Saudi Arabia, the largest airport is the King Abdul Aziz International Airport, and this airport is the largest in Saudi Arabia. And there are few more airports in Saudi Arabia which connects through airway. Those airports are Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dhahran. So these three places have airports which connects the country through airways. And even the country has many seaports also. Their seaports are Jeddah, Daman, and Yanub. These are the chief seaports. You can travel with the help of ships also. As you can see in the picture, the city of Jeddah and Riyadh. You can see how beautiful the cities look. They are so sophisticated. They have so higher buildings, and there is so many facilities you can see there. Important cities. Jeddah, Riyadh, Mecca, and Medina are some of the most important cities of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh is the capital and largest city of Saudi Arabia. It is a well-planned city with skyscrapers, shopping malls, hospital, parks, school, etc. Jeddah is the biggest seaport in Saudi Arabia. It is the gateway to the Muslim holy centers. Mecca and Medina. Jeddah is also famous for King Abdul Aziz International Airport. Mecca. Okay. So as you can see here, Jeddah and Riyadh, Mecca and Medina are some of the most important cities. So most of the most important cities of Saudi Arabia are Jeddah, Riyadh, Mecca, and Medina. And Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh is the capital of Saudi Arabia. That is very important. You also remember that. And it is a very well planned city. It has a lot of skyscrapers. Skyscrapers means very, very huge buildings. Skyscrapers. So as you have heard of the tallest building in the world is Burj Khalifa. So Burj Khalifa is a skyscraper. So like that, likewise, there are many skyscrapers in Saudi Arabia, schools, parks. As you can see in Riyadh, there are so many facilities. You can see this park, you can see the buildings, the beautiful roads. So there are many facilities. And Jeddah is the biggest seaport. The Jeddah has the biggest seaport in the country, in the Saudi Arabia country. So, and these cities are the main, and Jeddah is the main gateway to the Muslim holy cities of Mecca and Medina. It is the gateway, and in Jeddah only the famous King Abdul Aziz International Airport is there in Jeddah. Mecca is the biggest Muslim pilgrimage center in the world. It is the birthplace of Prophet Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Medina is also an important Muslim pilgrimage center. Millions of Muslims from all over the world come to Mecca and Medina on annual pilgrimage called Hajj. So Mecca is the biggest Muslim pilgrimage in the world. So many people from all around the world, they come to Mecca for Hajj, for a pilgrimage called Hajj. And the reason is because Mecca was the birthplace of Prophet Muhammad, where the the religion beliefs of Islam was started and founded. And Medina also is another important city where Muslims go for pilgrimage, and many people from all over the world, millions of people all around the world, they go to Mecca and Medina on an annual pilgrimage called Hajj. As you can see the people in Mecca, see the people in Medina, you can see full of people, you can see a lot of people standing here. You can just imagine so many people go here for pilgrimage. So this is the end of the chapter, and we have seen how the people live in the desert, how the cities have developed slowly because of the minerals there, and in the why they are famous for, and how the people from all over the world go to Saudi Arabia for annual pilgrimage called Hajj. So this we have reached the end of the chapter, and if you all have any doubt, you can ask me in WhatsApp. And please, if you don't understand anything, please go through the video again, and if you still don't understand, please ask the doubts in the WhatsApp group. Thank you, students.